Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today we're going to be doing Factoring Day 1, Operations with Polynomials. The first thing that we need to understand is how to write our polynomials in standard form. All standard form means is that when we write the terms in our polynomial, we're starting with the highest exponent and working our way down. So for question number 1, the highest exponent that I see is 5x cubed. So that's going to be the first term that I write down here, 5x cubed. And moving on from there, the next highest exponent is going to be my 3x squared. So that's a positive 3x squared. Notice I'm keeping the signs with the terms as I go through there. Next is going to be my negative 8x. And lastly, I'm going to finish off with my positive 7. As you can see, we're starting high exponents and then we're working our way down. Next question, we're going to do the same thing. My highest exponent is my 9x to the 4th power. So 9x to the 4th power is the first one that comes down. My next highest exponent is going to be my negative x squared. So negative x squared is my second term. Followed by that is going to be my positive 2x, so plus 2x. And lastly, I'm going to close out with my positive 1. I want you guys to take a minute and try number 3 on your own. Next up, we're going to be finding the sum of two polynomials, and by now we should know that sum means to add them together. So down here we have our two polynomials set up, and basically what we're going to be doing is combining our like terms. So the first thing I'm looking at is in my first term, I have a negative 4x squared. That's going to combine with my 7x squared from my second polynomial, resulting in a 3x squared. After this, then we can look to our next term. We have a positive 9x. That's going to match up with my negative 5x from the second polynomial. When I add those two up, I should get a positive 4x. And lastly, my third term is a negative 3, which is going to pair up with my positive 4, resulting in a plus 1. As you can see, we'll double check and notice that this is already in standard form, so we have our final answer because we can't combine any more of these terms. Go ahead and try number 1 on your own. For question number 2, we're going to be finding the difference of two polynomials, and by now we should know the difference means to subtract. When doing this, there's a couple things we need to keep in mind. This subtraction sign here applies to the entire second polynomial. So there's two different ways we could think of this. The first way being that, really, we're just distributing this subtraction sign to every term in my second polynomial, resulting in a change in all the signs here. The other way we can remember it is if we think about keep, change, change, or KCC. With this, when we're looking at our problem, the keep refers to keeping my first polynomial exactly how it is. We don't need to change a thing here. The first C in my change refers to changing the sign in the middle. So now we're no longer subtracting, we are adding. The third and final step would be to change all the signs in my second polynomial. So my negative 2x squared is going to become a positive 2x squared. My positive x is going to become a negative x. And my negative 3 is going to become a positive 3. Now that we've done this, we really just have an addition problem, and we can treat it just like we treated our last problem. So we're looking to combine our like terms now. My first set of terms is my positive 4x squared, which is going to link up with my positive 2x squared. This will result in a 6x squared. Up next, I can talk about my negative 2x, which is going to link up with my negative x, resulting in a negative 3x. And finally, I have my positive 7, which combines with my positive 3 to result in a positive 10. Once again, we are already written in standard form, so we're good to go. Go ahead and try the right side of your page on your own. Question 3 says subtract x squared plus 4x minus 1 from 6x squared plus 2x minus 3. My key with this problem is the word from. Anytime I see from, I should know the polynomial that follows is the one that I write first. So rewriting this problem, I'm going to write it as 6x squared plus 2x minus 3 minus my second polynomial, which is x squared plus 4x minus 1. Now I can treat this just like I treated my last problem and go through the process of keep, change, change. I'm going to keep my first polynomial exactly how it is, change my subtraction to addition, and then change each of the signs in my second polynomial so they're opposite. Now I can go through and just combine my like terms and I'll be all set. So, starting off with my 6x squared and my negative x squared, I get a 5x squared. Up next I have my positive 2x and my negative 4x to get a negative 2x. And lastly I have my negative 3 and my positive 1 to get me a negative 2. Try the problem on the right side on your own. Look back at the steps that we just did if you need help. Let's review the different ways we can see multiplication of polynomials. In question number 1, we have a monomial, which is one term, being multiplied by a binomial, two terms. For this problem, it's as simple as distributing over your parentheses. So negative 2x times 4x squared is going to get us negative 8x to the third power. And then negative 2x times my positive 3 is going to get us negative 6x. We're already written in standard form, so that's all we have to do for this first one. For number 2, we have two binomials being multiplied together. Here we need to know to use our box method. We can set up our box and put one binomial on the side and put our other one up top. In order to get into the box, we know that we're multiplying, so x times x is going to get us x squared. X times negative 6 is going to get us negative 6x. X times 2 is going to get us 2x. And 2 times negative 6 is going to result in a negative 12. In order to get out of the box, all we have to do is combine our like terms so we can see that we have two x's in there. So my x squared just comes right out. I have 2x minus 6x resulting in a negative 4x. And then my negative 12 just comes right out. Once again, we're written in standard form, and we've got our final answer for number 2. The third way we could see this is a binomial raised to the second power, or raised to a power. What this power is telling us is how many times we need to rewrite this binomial. So I can rewrite this problem as 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. Now it looks just like the second problem, and we know we need to set up our box method. So I've got 2x plus 3 on the side and 2x plus 3 up top. Multiplying to get in, we get 2x times 2x resulting in a 4x squared. 2x times 3 is going to get me a 6x. 2x times 3 again is going to give me a 6x, and 3 times 3 is going to give me a positive 9. Finding our like terms, we can combine them in order to get out of the box, and my final answer is going to be 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. To close the lesson, we're going to be finding the product of larger polynomials. So the only difference that you'll notice is, unlike the last problem, we now have a trinomial involved, meaning there's 3 terms in one of our polynomials. The only thing that's going to change here is the size of my box. The traditional 2 by 2 isn't going to work, so we have to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to add an extra column so that I have enough space for all of my terms. And now I can write in what I had. So I have my x plus 2, and then my trinomial up top, x squared plus 4x plus 3. Multiplying to get in, x times x squared is going to give me an x to the third power. X squared times 2 is going to give me a 2x squared. X times 4x is going to give me a 4x squared. X times 3 is going to give me a 3x. 4x times positive 2 is going to give me an 8x, and 2 times 3 is going to give me a positive 6. You'll notice that this time we actually have two sets of common terms, so just be careful when you're combining. So my first set of common terms is my 4x squared and my 2x squared. My second set of common terms is going to be my 8x and my 3x. When I combine all my like terms, I can pull out my answer, and I'm going to get x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6. For the next question, we're multiplying three binomials together. Now we can't do this all in one shot, so we're just going to focus on the first two first. So I'm going to set up my first 2 by 2 box. So I have x minus 4 and x plus 3. Multiplying to get in, I have x squared plus 3x minus 4x minus 12. So my answer for the first one, when I combine my like terms of that positive 3x and negative 4x, is going to give me x squared minus x minus 12. That's the result of just my first two binomials up here. So now, rewriting the problem, I have my x squared minus x minus 12 times the remaining x minus 5. In order to solve this problem, again, you'll need a bigger box because we're going to have a 2 by 3. So you could set it up just like we did in the previous problem. From this point, I want you to finish this problem and try the last problem at the bottom of your page. Thank you and have a great night.